doesn't know how to use the calculator.
Right. So that's the other thing I was going to talk about. I am not going to put any questions on the test that you have to solve on the calculator. So like 12C, I'm not going to put that one on the test. I'm just going to be upfront with you and tell you that right now. 12A, B, or D are all fair game. So do we want to kind of run through those? I'm guessing since I just told you 12C isn't on the test, you're probably not all that worried about me going over it at this point. But can we talk about the others on number 12 and just make sure we're prepared?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing on 12, you have to write your equation. The vertical motion equation, when I put it, I will put one on the test, but it's going to look like it does here, that I'm going to tell you in parentheses what the formula is. You just have to fill in the gap. So it's...
You give us the ST.
Mm-hmm. So negative 16t squared plus v sub 0. V is velocity. What is our velocity?
48 heat per second.
Plus 48t plus h sub 0. H is height, which is?
35.
Alright, that's part A. B. This is a question, everybody listen carefully. It is going to come up on the test over and over and over again. Anytime I ask you for a maximum or a minimum, or if I say the highest and the lowest, what am I asking?
The vertex.
The vertex. How do you find the vertex?
So it would be over 2A.
Very good. You have to know that. So I want when it reaches its highest point, so that's your vertex, opposite would be over 2A. So my B is 48 over 2 times A is negative 16. So that reduces to 3 over 2. Okay. That's the time. That's how long it takes to get to its maximum. Then I said, how high is it going to be at that time? So what do you have to do?
Plug it back in.
Plug it back in. So if we do that, we get 71 feet. If I just said give me the vertex is an ordered pair, so make sure you write it as an ordered pair that way. Here I asked 2 separate questions. So C, I already told you we're not going to put on the test, so I'm not going to worry about that one right now. We'll come back to it if we have extra time. D, when does it hit the ground? So that's one that you could do on the calculator, but we could also do by hand. If it hits the ground, what is your height?
0.
So this equation equals 0. Alright, this test has a lot of solving quadratics on it. So it's solving a lot of problems like this. We usually try box method first. Is that something we're probably going to be able to do here? So what option do you have if box method doesn't work? Quadratic formula. So you should know that. Let me jot it down for you if you need to. Write it down and study it. Hey, did you guys notice something here? The vertex we said was opposite of B over 2A. It comes from the quadratic formula, the formula we use to find the vertex. Okay. So if we plug in to solve this, opposite of B is negative 48 plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. So when I put one of these in, I get a negative answer. Can you have a negative?
No.
No, we're talking about time, when it hits the ground. So when you solve this, you get like a negative 0.6 and a positive 3.0 or 607, excuse me. So we can't have the negative, so it's after 3.607 seconds. It will hit the ground.
Now, do we have to write those in like Word?
Just put a label on it. I'm not gonna make you write a full sentence for that type of problem. Other questions? So we're good on 12 at least? Alright, so are there any specifically that you guys know? Let's start with anything you know you want me to work out on here. And then we'll go with the others. Yes?
Well, I'm having a problem with the right triangle questions.
Okay. 27?
Yeah.
Okay. And 28 I want to talk about as well, if we could. Okay, so problem 27 says you have a boat with a rope attached at water level is being pulled into a dock. So I am quite the artist. I'm going to draw myself a picture. Here's my little boat. Put a flag on it. And we have a dock over here. Okay, so there's the water. There's a rope attached at water level going from there to the dock. When the boat is 12 feet from the dock. So where do I put that label? Yep. The distance from the boat to the dock. The length of the rope is 3 feet more than twice the height of the dock. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Do we know the height of the dock?
No.
So what do I call that?
X.
Okay. 3 feet more than. What does more than mean?
3 plus X.
Twice the height. That would 2x. So 2x plus 3 or 3 plus 2x. Alright. Then we have to find the height. So here is a right triangle. A squared plus b squared equals. Okay. So A and B are the legs, the sides touching the right angle. X squared plus 12 squared equals 2x plus 3 squared. 12 squared is 144. How do I square 2x plus 3? Good. There's 2 of them. So we get 4x squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 9. What do we always set our quadratics equal to?
0.
So if I subtract over my x squared and my 144. Nine minus 144. Negative 134. What can I do with all of those? Yeah. Good. Let's just divide everything by 3 then, both sides. So then we can do box method. Okay, so,
Easy method?
yes, we can, because if the 1x squared, we can just make our 2 parentheses. And x. Multiply negative 45 and add positive 4.
Positive 9 and negative 5.
So if we set each of those equal to 0, we get x to be negative 9, positive 5.
Which will be
Right. Why can't it be the negative?
because you can't be negative.
Right, we're measuring the height, which wouldn't be a negative. So then, word problem, write a sentence. The dock is 5 feet high. Question 6. Um, 28. This one I want to go over. So these box problems, when you first went over them, you had several. I will put one on the test. So I'm telling you right now, there will be a problem like this on your test. So we have a piece of sheet metal. It is 2.5 times as long as it is wide. What should we do first? Okay. Do we know how wide it is? So that would be, and then it's 2.5 times as long, so this would be, what if I said it was 5 more than? What would you do? Okay. What if I said it was 2 less than? X minus 2. Good. Alright, so then we are going to form a box by cutting squares out of the corners. Alright, so let's think about what this means. It tells us the squares are 3 inches long. So we have this, and then it was x, but I took off 3 there, and then I take off 3 up here. So how much have you removed? So in our box, I'm gonna go ahead and draw that so I can label. Oh, that's bad. So it was x, but we took 3 off each end, so now it's x minus 6. The other side was 2.5x, but you took 3 off this end and 3 off this end. So now it is 2.5x minus 6. Okay, so knowing that you're going to have to do this tomorrow, is everybody following me? The height. So what you do is you cut the corner out and then you fold that flap up. So how tall is this when I fold it up? 3, because that's the side of the corner, size of the corner I cut out. Does that make sense? Let me. Okay. So here's my original piece of metal. So if I take off these corners, okay, pretend like measured in nice perfect squares. So then when I fold this flap up, that's where the fold goes. Fold this one up. And so you see it's forming a box as I fold those up. So the height of the box is the size of that square you cut out, which was 3. So this, if you did nothing else, you would get a couple points just for drawing these pictures and labeling. That's defining all your variables. Now I talk about volume. How do you find volume of a box?
You make it equal to the rest of
Volume,
That's height.
yeah, length
Well,
times
it's right there.
width times height. So if I multiply those, 3 times x minus 6, 2.5x minus 6, that equals the volume, which we were told in the problem. Thank you. Alright. What next?
Distribute or
We can either distribute the 3, or could we divide by it on both sides? Yeah, do you want to just go ahead and get rid of it? One less thing to multiply. Then what do we have to do? FOIL over here. So this would be 2.5 x squared minus 6x minus 15. Okay, combine my like terms. So 2.5x squared minus 21x. Could subtract over that 76, that gives me a negative 4. Okay. Is this one I could easily do box method on? Okay, so what do we need to do instead?
project.
So x equals opposite of b, so that would be a positive 21, plus or minus the square root of b, negative 21 squared, minus 4a is 2.5, c is negative 40, over 2a, 2 times 2.5. So if I work out that radical piece, I get 29. So this is really two answers, 21 plus 29 divided by 5, 21 minus 29 divided by 5. So 21 plus 29 would be 50, divided by 5 is 10, and this would be a negative 8/5. Are both of these answers possible? This was measuring the height of a box. Can you make a box with a, or the, sorry, it wasn't the height, it was the width of the metal. Can you get me metal with a negative length? No. So this is out, so the 10 works. So the metal is 10 inches by the original piece, the length was x, the width was 2.5x, so 2.5 times 10 is 25 inches. Does that make sense? So knowing that this is on your test, do we need to talk about another one like it? Or do you think you have it? If you guys want another one, there is one on that 3.4 handout, so just tell me if you want me to work it.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
Where does the 6 come from? Is it from the 3-inch?
Yes,
square?
because you took 3 here and 3 here, so altogether
Okay.
it was 6.
Okay.
Is it gonna be more like 2,900?
29 is just like the other one.
Yeah, I might ask one about 29. Because you don't have to use the graph on the calculator to solve this, so let's just kind of run through it. So it gives us a formula for the height. And then it says, what is S of 2.5? So what do you have to do?
32.5
Mhm.
feet.
So you have -4 times 2.5, 4 times 2.5. So if you use your calculator there, what do we get? You guys can all help out, even if you either you've worked it out and you have the answer, or you can open your Chromebook and plug it in.
Mm.
14. Okay, the trickier part might be the interpretation. What does that mean? So what does the the 2.5 stand for?
The time.
Time. And it told you in the problem it was t seconds. So that means after 2.5 seconds. Okay, S of t gives the
The what?
Oh, the height.
the height.
After.
This equation is for the height of baseball. So after 2.5 seconds, the height is 14 feet. So if I ask you to interpret it, I'm expecting labels, seconds, feet. Write me a sentence and tell me what it means. Part B. After how many seconds does the ball reach its maximum height? This is going to be a popular question on the test. Anytime I ask about a maximum or a minimum, what is it? Vertex. Look back at the original. What should I do to this?
Distribute.
Okay, so vertex opposite of b over 2a, so -44 for 2 times -16. That gives me 1.375, so that's your x, which in this case is your time. And then to find the maximum height, what do we do?
Plate.
Mhm. And that gives me 34.25 feet. Okay. I would really like to talk about some of the quadratic inequalities, if we could. Are we okay on this one? Kinda hit the word problems, you will definitely have a box problem. You're definitely gonna have a word problem that asks you to find a maximum or minimum. So, be prepared for those. Like 21 through 26, those are all the inequalities. I'd like to pick maybe 2 or 3 of them and kinda go over if that's okay. Do you guys have a preference?
25.
25.
I don't know. I remember I did that, yeah. Doesn't it, cause like equal to, you have to do like the negative thing to like, negative
Mhm.
like,
Less than
union
is
thing.
2 points, greater
If
than
it's
is
not
a
equal to, you
union.
just gotta like list it too.
It's, has to do with it's a less than or a greater than.
Yes,
Tells you
that.
it's 1 or 2. The
So if it's
equal to or not equal to tells you bracket or parentheses. So, what we're gonna do first here, it's a quadratic, what do we always get those equal to?
0.
Okay, then we want to factor this. How would I factor x squared minus 25?
X plus
Okay. Then, if this were an equal to, you would set each of those things equal to 0 and solve them. So you would get -5 and +5. We look at that. Then this is where first hour they didn't realize this. I always draw a picture here. This is a quadratic, right?
Mm.
So it's a parabola. Does it open up or open down? Opens up. So I'm just going to draw in my Promethean board isn't working. I got here this morning, my Promethean board didn't work, my slate didn't work. First hour I had to just use the dry erase board. They've got half my stuff working now. These are the 2 places where it equals 0. Then we said it opens up, so it looks like this. Okay? You could look at it on your graphing calculator
So
too.
then that negative 22, comma, -5 bracket.
Well,
Oh,
less than means positives or negatives. Negatives. This horizontal line is where it equals 0. So if you're less than 0, I'm asking where you are below the line. So,
is it bracket -5 and 5 bracket?
okay. Let's try some more of these. I would like to do
Maybe
two.
24.
Sure. That one's really ugly.
oh no.
Okay. It's quadratic, so first step. So you get x squared plus 5x minus 2 greater than 0. And then we do box method. Is there anything that multiplies -2 and adds to +5? No. So, if you can't do box method, what do you have to do? Quadratic formula. I'm going to tell you right now, I will put questions on your test that have a quadratic formula. I probably won't do it on an inequality problem. Okay, so it'll be just an equal to problem where I would make you do that. The inequality problems I'm probably gonna make a little bit nicer. But, let's go ahead and do that. So, opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So that's 25 plus 8. We can leave this in radical form, we could get a decimal. If it were just an equation, I would expect you to leave it as a radical, so let's go ahead and just leave it. So if I'm looking, you put the smaller one on the left, so that would be the minus one. Bigger one on the right. Okay, is this parabola facing up or down? Okay, what kind of solutions did I want?
Greater than 0.
Greater than means positives, so I want those ends. This is going forever in the negative direction, so that's a negative infinity. A negative 5 minus radical 33 over 2. Union. This is the plus 33. And it goes forever in the positive. Why did I put parentheses on those?
Not
Because
equal
it's
to.
not equal to.
Okay. Equal to is bracket, not equal to parentheses. Okay. Let's look at 22.
So on these, like on these things, you know, like always use quadratic formula if you want to.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I'll just do quadratic formula.
On this one. It's already equal to 0, it has 0 on one side. So then the next thing we look at, can I do box method here? No, I don't need to. I only have 2 terms, bless you. What can I do?
Yeah, pulling negative x on.
Yeah, if you only have 2 terms, look at your greatest common factor. So we can pull out a negative x. So if this were an equal to, at this point you would set each one equal to 0. So that is exactly what we are going to do right now. So if I set negative x equal to 0, we get just 0. If I set x minus 2 equal to 0, we get 2. So there's something, it's a new board and it's very, I don't know what the deal is. So, we have those. Does this parabola open up or down?
Down.
How do you know that?
A is negative.
So this is an upside down parabola. And you could also, if you needed to graph it on your calculator, we could. Alright, now to pick our answers, we wanted less than or equal to 0. So less than is below. So it's below here and here. So if you write those intervals, that would be negative infinity, comma 0, equal to gets a bracket, and then bracket 2, comma infinite. Yes.
Why wouldn't the sign flip when you flip out the negative?
If you move the negative to the other side. It flips if you multiply or divide both sides by a negative. But because I didn't move it to the other side, I just factored it out. It doesn't change the sign.
Okay.
So.
You have a question?
Mm.
Don't try to just remember like less than has one interval and greater than has two intervals. It's based off the direction of that parabola.
Okay.
So draw the picture and get it from there.
Okay. Oh.
Is that what you were trying to do?
Yeah, see on 22 it's like interval, and then on 25 you just listed it, but then,
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, it's nice to have that shortcut, but if I throw a negative, it flips your parabola and it changes them. Okay. What else?
And then I'll ask you after class, 'cause I did that one already. I have a question on 18.
18.
Cause I don't know, I got mine right, but I don't think mine's right.
Alright, so quadratics, we always get one side to be 0.
That's it, blue one.
We have. Then we check to see if there's a greatest common factor. Is there anything that we can pull out of this? No. So then we do box method. And we have to look if we can do the shortcut or not. So you can do the shortcut when it's just a 1x squared. This one isn't, so we have to do the entire box method. So if we draw that out. Those multiply to 100. We need them to add to negative 20. So what would it be? Negative 10, negative 10. This is 2x minus 5, 2x minus 5. You can either write it twice, or how else could you write that?
Score in with 2.
So that's okay. So to find your solution, you have to set that equal to 0. But that was the solution twice. So M2.
So you forget like how the 5 over 2 into whatever, how would you, could you just write it twice?
Yes. Other questions? What else would you like me to look at? We got a few more minutes, about 5 minutes, so I can look at some other problems if we need to.
16.
16.
Good choice. Peanut.
So start, we have to FOIL out the left.
Ah.
So that would give us an x squared minus x is 2x minus 2. Combine like terms. Then what do we do?
Set it to 0.
So if I subtract over my 7x, subtract over my 5, now what?
You can do easy mode.
So multiply to a -7 and add to -6.
-7.
Is it when you put
Just
it zero?
set it both going to 0.
So that'd be 7 -1. Good job with that.
Okay. What up? Are you guys okay on like problem 10? You know, doing the whole parabola bit, telling me if it opens up or down, the axis of symmetry, graph, all of that stuff? Okay.
Do you have like another example you could go over?
I can make one up.
You have extra copies of these?
I can print some more if you want to
Yeah.
come by after school, or
That's fine.
8th hour is my plan period, so if you come by towards the end of 8th hour, I'll have it.
Okay, I'll come.
How many copies? Does anybody else want an extra one?
Yeah.
Okay.
They just said I got this. They said I got it in the bag.
No, because if I get another copy, I won't do it.
Alright, made myself a note, so don't forget to come by. Alright, let's say I gave you,
Calm down, Jamal.
y equals,
Let walk through. So what is this one?
it's kinda like number 10. I'm just making up a one to go with it. Okay, so part A, does this open up or down?
Down.
Okay, does that mean it has a maximum or a minimum?
Maximum.
Okay, so we're okay with that? I don't know what's going on with my,
It's an upside down question mark.
yeah, just makes random lines sometimes.
The bishop.
How do you find a vertex?
Opposite of
B
B
over
over
2A.
2A.
That's 3. Oh, yeah, you already used it. I thought you was trying it.
So that's 3/2. Is that my full vertex?
No, you need to plug it back in.
Right. That's like the x value of the vertex. Now you have to get your y, so if you plug that in. And I'm out of time. If you have more questions, let me know. If you need to ask for an extra copy, I will have those by the end of 8th hour.